Hello there, welcome to Tech and Cash. Today we are going to do another post-game review with Flan from Winging It. So welcome Flan, how are you doing today?
Hello, thanks for having me back on. I'm doing very well. Looking forward to this game.
Yeah, always a pleasure to have you on this channel. So today we have another game from the latest EE tournament that we have on the Discord server. And this is the game of Mother Love versus Chop. So it was a best of three tournament, and then this is the third game, the decider game. So it was quite exciting. All right, without further ado, we're gonna jump straight to it. So we have Chop starting this game here. So what do we have in the starting hand? The tray
Yeah,
certainly doesn't look great.
no, some interesting choices. I think good wetland options, but really no kind of food source. So
Right.
with the end of round as well being birds in the forest, I'll be interested to see if he goes that song sparrow. That kind of looks like your only real option for getting something in the forest.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the greatest, but I think it can work quite well here
Mm,
because Sandpiper with the Song Sparrow, that gives you two wetland birds. So
yeah,
even if you skip the Sandpiper, you can still get two cards, which is pretty
right,
solid.
right. And it looked like was that Ulogist as well for the bonus card. So
Yeah,
probably a fairly straightforward choice on that one.
yeah, always a good start. And really, the Song Sparrow can potentially help with three of the end of round goals
Mm,
because the last one is birds in a row. So,
yeah. Yeah,
um,
yeah. I mean, I think birds like the song sparrow. I think if you can get them in the starting hand like this, I don't think they're bad options. And if they, do help with maybe two or three of the end of round goals, then certainly, yeah, just gives you some extra flexibility and certainly some potential to get extra points as well.
yeah. So recently on the Discord server, we have a lot of discussion about the Red Lake Partridge. What do you feel
Mm.
about that bird in this case?
It's so tricky.
Yeah.
I think in this case, I probably wouldn't look to rely on it just
Mm-hmm.
because three food, three seeds, it really, really difficult, I think, to get all the food for that. I mean, I think the position that Chop is in here,
Mm-hmm.
you do have a bit of flexibility because if you keep the Sandpiper and the Sparrow, that's two birds and you only need two food. So you can choose for that final resource, is it going to be an extra card or an extra food? I think probably I'd be looking at the extra food, which it does seem like he's gone for as well. Just again, the real struggle at the moment for him is going to be generating food in the forest.
Look at how fast Mother Love
Yeah,
just pick up those birds. We barely have a
yeah.
chance to see what they are.
I was gonna say I saw a mute swan and that was
Yeah,
about it. So,
yeah. Mother Love is like, I need no second thought on this.
oh,
It's very
indeed,
straightforward. But yes,
yeah,
I saw the mute swan as well, and I think the
yeah.
first bird is the catbird.
Oh wow. Oh
Yeah,
yeah. Okay. Yeah, that certainly feels pretty straightforward, and there is a seed in the bird feed as well. So,
yeah,
I think that they had the crossbill in the start in the last game we looked at as well. So,
yeah.
I think that did work out pretty nicely for them. Just with that early game tempo,
Yeah.
being able to get a bit of extra food, but. Again, it's potentially going to help Chop here because he doesn't really have that food access. So a few extra seeds for him is going to be very welcome.
Right. I mean, at this point, I think this is one of the topic that we're gonna talk throughout this review. When
Mm,
I saw that Mother Love pick up the mute swan and the catbird, I mean, it makes sense. Mute swan,
yeah.
you want to go in the wetland, but I kind of have some doubt about running a mute swan and catbird tugging engine in the wetland.
Mm.
I don't know what you think about that combo.
Yeah, I think it can work. I think you need a lot of cards for it though. I mean, like just Mute Swan on its own, you already need
Two
to
cards to tug.
yeah, you need at least two cards up to three, and then you obviously get one back. But yeah, if you're going to copy that with a catbird, I mean, it's really really powerful. If you can get three birds in there
Yeah.
and copy that tucking power, you're getting potentially six tucks every turn, which is huge. But it's potentially a bit slow as well early in the game. Obviously the crossbill is going to help with a bit of extra food, but
Mm-hmm.
no seeds on the catbird. So trying to get the two cherries and the worm for that, it might take a little bit of time. So yeah, I'll be very curious to see how quickly Mother Love can get this set up.
Yeah, the setup is slow. By the way, just
Mm.
for the general audience, if you are not familiar, for the mute swan, you can tug up to 3 cards on 3 different birds when you activate it, and then you get 1 card back if you tug at
Yep.
least one. So again, my skepticism is like if you only
Mm.
have the mute swan and catbird, you only draw 2 at a time. So you can't even
Right.
fully utilize the mute swan. Then the catbird just doesn't score you anything at the beginning.
Yeah. I think on their own as just like a 2 bird wetland, it's not the best, but I think it's pretty flexible. And if you can add a third bird in there, maybe something like a ready duck or anything that's going to get you a few extra cards.
Yeah.
I certainly think that has potential to help. But I'm interested that Chop keeps skipping the sandpiper now. I'm
Yeah,
kind of guessing that he's looking at Mother Love setup and thinking, maybe he doesn't have a wetland bird.
exactly.
Obviously, the Gallinule's in the tray. He could be picking that up. But yeah, I think it certainly makes sense. I think at this point to avoid sharing the resources around when you kind of see that your opponent is struggling, maybe in that respect.
Yeah, I think that was really smart play. I think forcing
Yeah.
down that Sep Sucker is smart too
Mm,
because,
mm,
they have the extra grain that they cannot
absolutely.
play any other bird anyway. So,
Yeah, I think that makes sense. He kind of needed it for the end of round, and now he's got extra cards. I think probably even if he doesn't want to get rid of any of those in his hand, he can easily go for cards again here,
yeah.
and move the Song Sparrow up. But there you go. If you dig long enough,
Yeah.
you'll find a Raven. So
Yeah.
yeah, that feels pretty nice. I think if you're Chop, you're happy with that.
Yeah. And again, Mother Love was very smart here. I don't know if it's smart or not, but they play the catbird. But I think so Chop skipped the Sandpiper again. Again, it makes
Yep.
sense because when you see your opponent
Mm.
play a catbird, you would think that maybe they're desperate for a wetland bird. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a tricky one because I think, like if I'm Mother Love, I think actually maybe I'd want him to be activating that and giving me some extra cards. But at the same time, if you're kind of forcing your opponent to skip a power that they have access to, you are, in effect stopping them getting that resource as well. So it's kind of like 50-50 here. I mean, if I'm Chop, as soon as you get that Raven down, I'm going to start using that Sandpiper as much as possible because you need the cards to support it. Raven is really strong, obviously getting as
right.
much food as you can, but if you don't have the card draw to support it, then you're not going to go anywhere with it.
Right. So, all right, Mother Love finally have the
Mm.
setup at the beginning
Yeah.
of round 2, which again take a while. Like it did, for them
It
to pick up a
is.
lot of food.
Yeah, it is a little bit slow, but I think now they've got that set up, they'll
Mhm.
obviously be very happy. And
Yeah.
yeah, like I said before, it's really for them just about kind of digging through and finding the birds they're looking for. And obviously with the tucking powers and the cards they're drawing, they're going to see a lot of cards every turn. So
Yeah.
I would imagine it isn't going to take too long. There
Yeah.
you go. That will do
Yep. That
for them
is.
to find what they're looking for.
Yeah. You will find this very interesting. They found
Yeah.
2 tucking bird. You see what
Mm.
happened next. I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, I probably would have done the same if I'm honest. I think the barn swallow you certainly need that. Obviously helps the bonus card as well.
And the third bird. Yeah.
And the third bird, yeah, that's kind of the more important thing. I'm interested they went for the cowbird. Now I guess obviously they can get that down now if they want to. I think whenever you see your opponent go for a raven, you want to prioritize getting these pink powers. And
Yeah.
certainly when Mother Love is clearly going for a wetland engine that isn't generating a lot of eggs or any at the moment, then you need to get some eggs from somewhere.
Yep. So they got the food. What would
Mm.
you have done next if you were Mother Love?
I think that makes sense. I think clearly the priority for them is to get this barn swallow down. So
Okay.
you need the food as soon as possible.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of wondering about that nuthatch in the tray.
Mm-hmm.
That gets you a bonus card and a food. So I think that potentially could have been an option to maybe pick that up, play that, and then use that to get the food for the swallow. But of course, that is entirely dependent on what's in the feeder. So
Yeah.
you don't necessarily always have most control over that.
Yeah. But won't you agree? So I think Mother Love is a dilemma here. Like they need to get the barn swallow down as soon as possible to get, you know, 3 points engine from the wetland.
Mm,
But at the same
yeah.
time, I think they're also kind of worried about the end of round goals, so they did not play that Ban Swallow, which
Yeah.
I have some question about it.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering as well if that barn swallow was going to end up in the grasslands, just
Yeah,
purely because of the end of round. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if that's necessarily worth
yeah,
going out of your way for.
right.
I mean, it's obviously going to help, and it will get a couple of extra points. But
Mm-hmm.
I think this is a case where you just look at your opponent.
Yeah,
They can very easily beat you in that regardless. So
yeah.
I probably would be prioritizing just get that barn swallow down, and you'll score more points from those extra tucks than you're going to miss out on from the end of round.
I think I have to agree. My feeling is leaning towards like you just give up on the second end of round, go and get the Ban
Yeah,
Swallow down. Because again,
yeah.
without that third bird in the wetland, it's a mute swan cat bird. It's more like 2 bird for 2 points engine, which is pretty
Mm.
lackluster. Like, you know,
It's not great at the moment, and I think by forcing themselves into going with the robin,
yeah,
you now don't have the food for the barn swallow, and then the earliest you're going to get that down is
yeah,
is into round 3, and it's just so slow at that point. So
yeah,
yeah, it does feel like kind of they're losing a little bit of tempo, and certainly you kind of look at what Chop is getting set up, obviously
yeah,
with the Raven and then that second grass and bird as well, and the red knot in the wetlands is so nice. So it just feels like much more plain sailing for Chop at the moment.
yeah. So yeah, I have a lot of question about not playing that Ban
Mm.
Swallow. But I guess just
Yeah,
like going into like, like a full tuck in general. So I think you kind of briefly mentioned it when you have catbird and mute swan. Actually, in this case, if you can get a bird that allow you to draw 2 cards, it's actually even better than
yeah,
Ban Swallow, right?
yeah. I think so. I think because cards are what you're struggling for here,
Yeah,
not places to, or
yeah,
not tucking activations. You
yeah,
need you need more birds down
yeah,
to get you more cards, but also even just by having that third bird, like you said earlier, you can then suddenly unlock the extra tuck from the mute swan itself. So I mean, I think the barn swallow still works. I think
yeah,
it's still a good option.
yeah,
It gets points on its own as well, but yeah, I think still card draw is going to be a big problem if
yeah.
you're mother love in this position.
I mean, if we just do like an exercise, like theoretically, with the Ban Swallow is a 4 point engine, so maybe like Ban Swallow is 1 point. Oh, actually, it's maybe like 5 points. No,
It's
actually,
yeah, it's difficult because you're not drawing enough cards, right? So you draw
yeah,
two, you can tuck one on the barn swallow, you
yeah.
can then tuck two on the swan, and you get one back,
So
and
it's
then you
four
can
points.
you can copy the catbird for one more. So yeah, it's 4 points essentially.
Yeah.
Um, which, considering the catbird and the swan and the potential there,
Mm-hmm.
like we said at the start, it's potentially 6 points, and then barn swallow for a seventh, but it's just the cards are not there at all
Yeah.
for Mother Love. So it does kind of feel like he's really struggling in this game.
Yeah. Um, but I guess I'm trying to imagine if you have, say, you have a yellow throat there. How many
Mm.
points can you consistently score with a yellow throat?
I think you could get to 6 with the
Yeah,
yellow throat
right?
because you're getting those extra 2 cards, and as soon as you can get those extra 2 cards and you can tuck them both,
Yeah.
yeah, that is just obviously you don't have to discard until the end of the turn, so
Mm-hmm.
you can still tuck with those extra cards that you draw, and score points from that. So yeah, it really is just all about the card draw, and like they're cycling through here and just
Yeah.
not finding anything. So I did wonder if they were. Oh, okay. I thought they were going to go for the red as a way to play that and get a bit of extra cards there. But yeah, Nat Catcher's weird. I'm
Hmm.
not sure I get that because you go for that if you want extra food to play birds, but they haven't got any birds to play, so I'm
Yeah.
not
And
sure
it's
really
already
what the
like towards the
what the
end of
food's.
round
Yeah,
3.
exactly. Yeah, Gnatcatcher late in round 3 feels very late, and I mean you just look at the two boards and you look at how many birds are down and the kind of point values of these birds that are down as well, and yeah, it just we barely really talked about what Chop is doing because it feels so much smoother and just so much more straightforward. He goes for birds, get some big point ones,
Yeah.
and then use the Raven to get the food and play them. Like
Yeah.
pretty straightforward.
They play mostly the big point birds, and they're basically locked in for the last 2 end of round
Yeah.
goes too. So,
Yep,
um,
yep. And I saw they managed to get that house sparrow, which is really nice.
yeah,
You can certainly I think now that the hummingbird's gone down, you're going to get so much extra food through that, the raven, and just being able to turn that into points, tuck cards through the house sparrow. Yeah, that's a really nice option to have for
Yeah.
chop.
Yeah. Right now, Mother Love is finally realizing the
Hmm.
potential for the wetland, but it's a little bit too late.
Yeah, I mean, like, sort of realizing the potential, but
Yeah.
even then, not really, because they're still only drawing 3 cards a turn.
Yeah.
So you're still going to be missing out on some tucks somewhere, I think. And
Mm-hmm.
it's really only going to start to really maximize on the score in that final round, and that always kind of feels too late. I think you really want to have your the main part of your engine set up in those first 2 rounds. I
Yeah.
think this has taken that extra round too long,
Right.
and just really kind of difficult to get going for Mother Love.
Yeah. And Chop just make a really good play with the house barrel. That's
Yeah.
basically gonna be like a 16 points house barrel.
Yeah, that's just huge. All these extra seeds, they were quite smart keeping the seeds, making
Yeah.
sure with the hummingbird activations, I'm sure they'll grab as many extra seeds as they can. So
Yeah.
yeah, really really nice. I think if you're Chop.
Yeah. That was really strong there. But yeah. Again, it's just interesting, like, I think from the base game, typically when you run like a full tuck engine, you don't think
Mm.
about wanting birds like yellow throat or the
Yeah,
pie-bill grebe, but when you have the mute swan, those are the perfect combo.
yeah. I just noticed there as well on the hummingbird activation, Chop decided not to go for the food. So I think that was quite smart. He doesn't really need it. I think he's kind of obviously noticed that Mother Love doesn't want any of the food that's
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
So yeah, that's a smart play. I like that.
I guess I wonder why. I think it's probably for bonus card to play the
Think so.
Phoebe. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I think he's got at least one
Uh,
um, bonus card for the nest type, and I think maybe the small birds
Passerine.
as
Yeah.
well. Yeah. So I think it's for bonus cards, but yeah. I mean, otherwise he's got that warbler, and I think maybe he might try and get that down. But really at the moment he's got that egg space. I think you just lay eggs, use that raven to get as many seeds as you can for the house sparrow, and just work with that. I think this is a very very smooth end game if you chop.
Yeah, it definitely looks very nice. On the other hand, like Mother Love was forced to play that skimmer just for the
Yeah.
end of round. So,
Yeah, or
uh,
was it partly for bonus card as well, or they might still miss that bonus card anyway? I think they still only got three.
yeah, I think they're
So
looking maybe to
yeah,
play that Oreo if they can. I don't know if they
yeah,
have enough food.
I'm not sure they do. They certainly haven't been able to get what they needed from the bird feeder. So yeah, I think the Oreo has to go, and maybe they get something nice, but even at that point, I think just because they have finally got this engine set up, you want to use it. There's no point waiting 3 rounds to get your engine set up and then not use it every turn in the final round.
Yep.
That always feels like a little bit of a waste.
It's interesting they skipped the tuck for the Oreo, but is that really any realistic way they can play the Oreo? They just missed 1 point.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think if they didn't tuck it then, I think they could still tuck it on this next round because they
Oh,
are still
yeah.
running. They are still running a card deficit. So
Yeah.
I think, like we said, they're always going to have more chances to tuck with the Swan than they actually have access to cards. So
Right.
I think they'll be okay. They should still, assuming they are going to just run this for the last couple of turns, but they keep using the hummingbird. So I don't know. I don't know if they're still planning on playing something, but I'm
Yeah.
not really sure what there is in their hand or in the tray that they could even think about playing at this point.
Yeah. And it's interesting, like every food that they give away is a 1 point for chops. So you
Exactly.
get to play
Exactly.
bird, but you also give your opponent points. So it kind of cancel out.
Yeah, I think he was kind of gambling a little bit there in that you keep taking the food just in case you find something good
Yeah.
because the absolute worst case scenario is that you keep digging through the deck and you find something and then you realize, oh, I should have kept using that hummingbird. But yeah, I think he is going to play this Oriole because it looks like he just copied the
Yeah.
the hummingbird on
Very
that last turn,
desperate.
which but it is quite desperate. And again, that's potentially another point that you've just given to your opponent. So
Yeah.
I think it is worth it playing this Oriole. Obviously, he would have worked out in his head how many tucks you're going to get from the Swan and how many you get on that last turn versus playing the Oriole. So it's a nice final turn, but
Hmm.
yeah, it doesn't feel like it's going to be enough to bring this back against Chop.
Yeah. That's the last turn. So yeah, look at that sparrow. I think that's like a 15-point sparrow.
Yeah,
How
that's just
nice.
huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had one or two games where you have one of those kind of teal powers with the Raven, and it is just so nice, so
Right.
strong, flexible. Or yeah, always a good way to use up any extra food you've got at the end of the game.
Yeah. All right. Now we are at the end. Still have one seat left over. 2 end of round. Yeah. I think this is not even gonna be close.
No, it doesn't feel like it. You know, just even the bonus cards and the end of rounds. Obviously, the tuck cards is kind of where Mother Love's going to bring this back, but yeah, it just feels like Chop is going to have this under control and pretty close actually.
Yeah,
at the
actually,
end.
it is pretty close. Yeah.
That kind of surprises me.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do kind of wonder now if maybe Mother Love had got that engine set up even just 2 or 3 turns earlier.
Right. Yeah, I
How
really
that could have
felt like
changed. Because there were a lot of skip tucks towards the end
Yeah.
that you had to make.
like the trade-off for second end of round for that
Mm,
Bond Swallow to get down quicker. I think you can
yeah,
make it up. Like,
yeah. Because you think about he played that Robin and then laid eggs once, I think.
Mhm.
So it didn't really score that many extra points.
Yeah.
For Mother Love. So yeah, that'd be an interesting. I'm sure Mother Love would have gone back and looked at that and thought, oh, if I'd played this, 1 turn sooner or something, how it could, have, maybe panned out differently. But
Right.
yeah, good game overall, I think.
Yeah, very good game. And yeah, I mean that was still a nice showcase of like the full tug engine in the wetland.
Yeah.
It is a little bit unfortunate that, it's not, I mean, the capper, I think the problem with the capper is just a little bit expensive, so they do
Mm,
have to spend quite a few turns in early game to pick up food to set it up. If they have like other better engine built in the wetland, I think,
right.
yeah, it would have gone much better.
Yep.
All right, that was the game. As always, thank you, Flan, for joining me today. Please go to Flan channel on Winging It to check out more Wingspan content. Other than that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.